When Stranger Things first hit Netflix back in 2016, it felt like a bolt of lightning, an electrifying blend of 80s nostalgia, small-town mystery, and supernatural horror. From the chilling disappearance of Will Byers to the discovery of the Upside Down and the emergence of Eleven, the series struck a chord that carried it to global success. But nearly a decade later, as the trailer for its fifth and final season arrives, it's hard to shake the feeling that Stranger Things overstayed its welcome. Season 3 was the ideal finale. The show never took. While Season 1 remains a fan favorite for its originality, many agree that Season 3 captured the spirit of Stranger Things at its best. It brought closure to key character arcs, offered a fresh wave of emotional storytelling, and wrapped everything in the visually symbolic setting of a dying mall, the heart of 1980s Americana. Season 3 offered more than just nostalgia. It showcased the emotional evolution of characters like Eleven, who found sisterhood and independence through her bond with Max. Their dynamic offered a refreshing break from the male-heavy storylines and allowed Eleven to grow beyond her identity as a government experiment or a love interest. Simultaneously, the duo of Steve and Robin, introduced as unlikely co-workers turned best friends, became one of the show's most beloved pairs. Their chemistry, combined with the Cold War subplot and the re-emergence of the Mind Flayer, brought genuine stakes to the season. The final episodes of Season 3 felt like a natural endpoint. Hopper's apparent death in the attempt to close the portal offered a heartbreaking but meaningful sacrifice. Eleven's grief, the Byers family's move, and the fractured state of the friend group suggested a poignant end that would have left fans both satisfied and emotionally moved. Season 4 undid its own progress. Rather than building on the emotional weight of Season 3, Season 4 chose to undo much of its progress. Hopper's survival, while a fan-pleaser, diminished the sacrifice that gave Season 3 its emotional impact. Meanwhile, the core cast, now older and separated by both physical and emotional distance, no longer carried the same chemistry that once defined the series. Season 4 introduced Vecna, a powerful antagonist tied to Eleven's past, but his arrival felt more like an elaborate retcon than a natural narrative development. The season rehashed themes of trauma and psychic warfare, but with diminishing returns. Eleven was once again subjected to government experimentation, and her character arc stagnated under the weight of repetition. Romantic subplots, like the forced tension between Nancy and Steve, resurfaced without a clear purpose. It seemed like the writers were attempting to revive old flames instead of exploring new dynamics, wasting opportunities to tell more mature, evolved stories. New characters like Eddie Munson brought brief sparks of excitement, but even their stories were unable to fully rejuvenate a show that had already run its emotional course. The delayed finale has lost its momentum. External factors, such as the COVID-19 pandemic, undoubtedly affected the production timeline. The long gaps between seasons dulled the show's momentum and made the aging of its young cast increasingly noticeable. In fact, the production has now turned to digital de-aging, a technical fix that only highlights how much time has passed since Stranger Things first captured lightning in a bottle. Now, with the teaser for Season 5, it's clear the show is trying to recapture the magic. But glimpses of Steve rallying the group or Eleven battling yet another internal struggle feel more like echoes than fresh beats. Fan-favorite characters like Max and Robin are barely present in the trailer, and the series appears poised to retread familiar ground one last time. Stranger Things should have known when to end. Not every great story needs to stretch itself across 5 seasons. Stranger Things could have concluded on a high note, one that honored its characters' journeys and respected its own narrative limits. Instead, it now faces the challenge of ending with grace after several years of diminishing urgency. As Netflix continues to flood its platform with content, Stranger Things no longer feels like the crown jewel it once was. Its cultural impact is undeniable, but so is the reality that its best days are behind it. Season May 5th still deliver thrills and closure, but the magic, for many, faded the moment the mall lights went out at the end of Season 3.